Chase for the Chip Fantasy Football League. This is your host, Captain Kamish, coming at you live. Not quite live. We're gonna edit it, but you can put it up probably tomorrow. But you get the point. I'm coming at you. I'm coming right at you on your phone, on your living room TV. I don't know however you do it. I'm coming at you because the season's ended. We have a victor. We've crowned the champion. And that's Team Snow Bunnies, baby. Team Snow Bunnies did the unthinkable. He took down touch of downs. We all thought it was in the bag, and honestly, we all owe Snow Bunnies our best because God knows the chaos that would have ensued if Michael won the chip. Just wouldn't have been a good look. Would have been a smudge on the glorious history that we're trying to write for the TCC. Would have been a smudge. Great season though, Michael. Not to dog you too bad. I mean, runner up, second place, big turnaround. Doesn't matter if you draft the guys. Doesn't matter if you trade for the guys. You got it done. You got to the second spot. Knocked me out of the playoffs. So respect. But yes, Snow Bunnies baby is the champion, and we do have a beautiful, and I mean beautiful, trophy for you. So without further ado, we're gonna get into it. This is actually a kind of big one. Um, excuse me. Just ate dinner. Oh yeah, happy Valentine's Day, by the way. But this is a big episode because we got to talk about a few things here. One being the calendar. The calendar. Asa texted the group chat. He texted the GC, offering people to buy months essentially because we did look into it. I've talked with Asa. A couple of us in the league all talked about it. It's expensive. It really is expensive. So obviously, Lairway's gonna buy a few. He's the victor. I'm gonna buy one. Um, we're not expecting every month to get bought up. I don't think that's a big deal because he could probably do 4 or 5 months worth of just stuff in his closet. You know what I mean? But for like the fun costume ones, costumes aren't cheap. So obviously you could get them cheap. You could cob job them together, but still, that still costs money unless you want to tear up your own clothes and shit. And I don't think he does. So, you know, if you got the money, by a month, and when you have it, it's going to be that much cooler. Also, like you guys probably saw in the text, we are pushing back to the 2025 season. Just was a little too quick to get that calendar done in a month, all the stuff. Kinks weren't exactly ironed out perfectly, so we're giving them to the next draft day essentially. So that means we have the calendar for the start of 2025, and that mean the month of January, February, and March aren't snubbed. Those could be the best photos for all we know. I don't know. I'm probably gonna end up buying the month of February because that's my birth month, and I don't know what I want them to do. I'm gonna have to do something super spicy. But so yeah, so there you go. There you have that. That's that part. Number two. Welcome to the league, Jared and Michael K. Uh, we don't you guys don't have team names yet obviously, so gotta call you by your first names unfortunately. But welcome to the league. It's gonna be the best fantasy football league you've ever been a part of in history. We like to have fun. We got a lot of big stuff coming. Now I don't really expect like the new guys to show up for the trophy ceremony. If they want to, they can. um, we still don't have a date ironed out perfectly, and it's been a few days since I sent the text. Only like 3 people responded. So I think this is the situation. I think I'm gonna make another group chat, a TCC group chat for like shit talking and fantasy football, and that way we have that group chat and like sports betting and stuff. Just all that stuff. That's not like dire information. It's just if you want to be a part of it, you could be a part of it. And then I'm gonna leave the other group chat for like stuff that's actually important to the league. Like if I need a vote quick or I need input, blah 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 blah. Just so I could get like more prompt responses, just because I want to get this date. I mean, Lairway deserves to keep this trophy for as long as possible. If it comes to it and not everybody could go, that's fine. We could like film some of it. You know what I mean? Lairway will get his picture and whatnot. But yeah, I mean the trophy's sweet. I definitely want you guys to see it. If not everybody can make it, if we can't figure out a date, I mean we could also still do weekdays. We'll see. After this video, hopefully we get that that rolling a little bit, because it's already halfway through February. The poor boy deserves his trophy. He took down the juggernaut of touchdowns for us, died for our sins, came back victorious. He has risen, and he's our champion. So we gotta respect him for that. So anyway, some big stuff happening already. What are we, about 5 minutes into this, and some pretty big announcements. Even bigger announcements, boys. Big stuff. So now that we do have 12 people, we will be switching to a super flex league instead of a 2 QB. So you will have the option to start a QB, but this is just so there's more of a waiver wire for quarterbacks. I mean, by week 3, I think there was pretty much nothing for QBs. People were like battling for the same trash. Um, so yeah, I think that's going to mitigate that, but it also gives you the option, if you want to draft two good quarterbacks, you could draft two good quarterbacks, and more power to you. You know what I mean? So that is going to be a for sure change. Is we will be going to Superflex. Another thing I'd like to do is I'd like to oblige Al at the trophy ceremony, and I know if like Jared can't make it or some person can't make it, I could text them. Um, and just ask them what their vote is. But Al brought up about the later half of the season, but mid to mid late half of the season, about having the top scorer be fill the last spot, fill that sixth spot in the playoffs instead of the sixth person. So essentially, the battle for the sixth spot would go to the remaining teams that are not in the playoffs. The points, whoever is in the lead with points for out of those remaining teams would get the sixth spot. Um, you know, I've hated it. I've loved it. Gone back and forth. It did fail the vote with 10, but rightfully so. We should, since the first season was our trial season essentially. So now that we have our concrete 12, um, definitely should have a vote with all the fellas. And what better time to do that than the trophy ceremony? It's gonna be a fun time. So let me see what else we got here. Oblige out. Oh, another thing I would like to vote on. This isn't gonna hurt my feelings if it happens or doesn't happen. It was just a fun idea I had. Was upping the league price. And I know, before everybody goes, "Whoa!" This is what I plan to do. That I've the proposition is upping the league price to $150. So not a huge. It's just another $50. Um, and the reason why I'd like to do this is because I would like to implement some sort of top scorer of the week of $25. Um, that way, so even if you're not winning or whatever, like, you got good chances to make half your money back, and the league only costs you $75 to play because you have a few good weeks, even if your team's playoffs aren't even in the hopes. I don't know. I think that's a good idea. A lot of leagues do that. Seems to work out. It makes it another way to make it fun and interactive for everybody all season long, regardless of where your team's at. Um, so with that $25, the first place, their ante would be up to $1,300, and the second place would just get their money back. And we could also discuss if we'd want to change that up too. We could have it so the first place still gets the 1,300, and then the final four teams get their money back. However we want to do it. The main thing is implementing the weekly payout system, but also upping the winner salary a little bit if we're gonna add $50. Um, so yeah, something to vote on. Another thing that we could vote on right there. Another thing that is definite, and I will love to explain this further in person, so we could have questions back and forth. But we will be switching to a 3-player keeper league as well. Not nearly as hectic as Dynasty. And I have the rules written out all over here. So I have concrete. I can't forget or whatever. I could always go back and look. But essentially, this is how it's going to work. Quick rundown of it. Switching to a 3-player keeper league. Owners can keep up to 3 players they drafted. That's a key word. They drafted. You have to draft the player you keep. So if I got a guy and I trade with Michael, Michael trades the guy Michael traded to me, I can't choose to keep him next year. It has to be a player you drafted. this minimizes people keeping the best players, and there's other ways that will take effect. So also no waiver wire pickups. It has to be a player you drafted. Um, you can only keep the same player for 3 seasons total. So draft year, next year, and the year after that. And this is how it's going to work. Also, let me preface with you don't have to keep. You could keep one player. You could keep up to three. Like you don't have to keep them. You can burn down the whole house if you want. But yeah, we're doing it. It's not going to be crazy hectic like Dynasty. Dynasty's wild. But this is just, I don't know. I think that it'll be fun. And if it sucks, then we don't have to do it. But I have a feeling it's going to be fun. But anyway, it's going to go like this. The player you draft the first year, obviously you draft him, whatever. You decide to keep him, then it is what the position you draft him. You cannot draft in that position that round next year. So let's just say I drafted Michael Pittman Jr. in the ninth round. Next, I decide to keep him because I feel like that's good value. Next year's draft, I do not have a ninth round pick. That is what the slot Michael Pittman Jr. is filling. So there's that hindrance to stop you from keeping your Lamar Jacksons because maybe not maybe you do decide to keep him, but the point is like, hey, is keeping this player or like a Derrick Henry who you get in your second round. He's getting older. Do you want to waste your second round pick or would you want to roll it back? So honestly, not a lot of major players are going to be held on to for that long. If you would like to hold on to that player a second year, it is the round you drafted plus one. So back to the Michael Pittman Jr. I drafted it in whatever said eighth or ninth round. If I hold on to him the second year, it would be that round plus one. So the seventh round, I wouldn't have a pick, or the eighth round, or whatever, the original plus one or minus one, I should say, because it's you know what I'm trying to say. Doesn't matter. So yeah, that's all the googling I did. That's how all keeper leagues pretty much do it. Some keeper leagues are two, some are five, um, some are as close to like a dynasty league as possible. I figured three is a good start. We could always adjust that if we want, but I just think this is fun. It makes the late round draft picks matter. You get that gem in the 14th round, and it's like, yeah, sure, I'll use one of my keepers for that guy. That guy next year will be a fourth rounder. I have to use a 14th round pick on him? Absolutely. So I think there's a little more GMing, a little more thinking in the off season. The only thing is, once the season ends, meaning the championship game is played, week after that, I would just need to know what players you are keeping. Um, so I could jot that down and make changes as necessary. This also, with the Keeper League rules, it also implements the ability to trade draft picks. I'm only going to allow the trading of the next year's draft. Like, for example, you can't go say, I'll trade you my third round 2028 draft pick for now. Like, that's way too much to keep track of. Just one season only, and that is the next draft. So we're gonna work something like that. I think that makes it fun too, since we're going kind of like this pseudo dynasty. Um, Not as crazy hardcore as dynasty, but again, it's like training wheels, dynasty. So yeah, some fun stuff coming up with that. Yeah, it's gonna be sweet. Like I said, a lot to vote on, a lot to think on. I'm saying this video. I think I pretty much touched on everything I wanted to touch on. It was an awesome season, straight up. I found these Happy Dads at the 7-Eleven. Pretty stoked on that. I've only had them like twice in my life. They got the great flavor, pretty delicious. And I always got to have at least a drink while I do one of these. Calm the nerves. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was a great season. Um, it's one for the history books. This is one. This is the start of it, baby. This is the start of it, and it went perfect for all the new guys. It went awesome. I think next year is going to be even better. You guys got, you dip your toes in. Lairway, first time playing, wins the chip. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. That's why we do this, boys. That's why we do this. But anyway, this has been the final episode of the season of Commissioner's Corner and Confiding with the Commissioner. Until maybe I'll do a preseason one. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, anyway, fellas, please get back to the text so we could get this date going on. Hit up Asa if you've done it privately. I just don't know about that. That's cool. Whatever. Help the kid out a little bit. Um, and yeah, that's gonna be it, baby. Commissioner's Corner again. Congrats to Snow Bunnies and welcome to the league, Jared and Michael. This is gonna be exciting, fellas.